where's the transition point between the world of mind identification or thought identification and the real world? The world of mind identification is the world that you find yourself in when you perceive yourself as a separate entity, a separate one, someone who is apart from life, someone who has a certain history and a certain future, and most importantly is bound by that history and future. The one who feels like it has to get it right, has to get this right, has to get life right. And at the same time as it feels like it has to get it right and seems to struggle to do so, it also doubts itself. So it's always either pushing or pulling, it feels. Pushing on life, pulling on life. Trying to get more or trying to get less of this experience. That feeling of struggle, of pushing, pulling, of trying to add and subtract. To make yourself feel finally okay. To make yourself feel worthy of peace. That whole endeavor, that whole project, that is the world of mind identification. It's an illusory or distorted reality. So what is that which you wake up to? Well, the nice thing about this is you don't actually have to know. And the truth of it is you can't really know. So you don't have to know what it is you're going to wake up to wake up. You don't have to understand it. You don't have to know, and this is important because this trips people up a lot, you don't have to know how it's going to be when you wake up to wake up. And again, you won't know. You can't know. And therein lies the rub. That as much as the world of mind identification is uncomfortable, it seems somewhat predictable. Now, if you're lucky, it will become unpredictable. And lucky in the terms of letting go, lucky in terms of getting to the root of the illusion that keeps us suffering. So this kind of luck comes in the form of disruption. I've talked about this a lot. Sometimes tragedy, but it's when things blow up in your face, when your grip on control, when your seeming grip on the way life is going to go for you, suddenly loses its grip, suddenly doesn't have any power anymore, when things just don't work out the way you had hoped, expected, or believed they would. These moments are hugely valuable for awakening. They're often what we avoid with the mind. And honestly, what we often avoid with certain varieties of spirituality. The kind of spirituality that tells you you're in control and you can control reality with thoughts and so forth. That doesn't do well here. It doesn't do well when things start getting disrupted. So what you'll typically do is run back for more of that. You'll say, okay, well, it didn't go the way I wanted, but let me control it in a different way. Yeah. And that's fine. It's okay. It happens. But here's another thing that can happen. Instead of solidifying in those moments when things feel sort of out of control or you feel sort of helpless, you can actually let go into the sensation of it. Now, there's a tricky spot here as well, because what often happens is instead of letting go into it, we move into psychological fear. Not physiologic fear, but psychological fear. So the mind will say, oh, no, you can't let go here. You'll become crazy. You'll become dysfunctional. You won't ever accomplish anything. You'll lay in your bed for the rest of your life and suffer, right? That's psychological fear. That's not really letting go. That's grabbing onto another narrative, grabbing onto another thought stream, grabbing onto another familiarity, even if it's the least comfortable one that you could choose. And this is where, again, developing clear vision is really helpful to see that, I see that I'm doing that. I'm grabbing onto a really uncomfortable narrative, a really uncomfortable story, but I am grabbing onto a story here. I'm grabbing onto the narrative because it's familiar. I feel so out of the familiar. I feel so disoriented that I'm willing to grab onto the worst kind of story, even though it feels horrible, rather than just let go. Yeah. And again, if you have a clear enough seeing here, and you see that that's what's happening, then you have a major, major opportunity to let go right into the mysterious. The mysterious is right in front of your face. The mysterious is at the tip of your nose. The mysterious is what's looking through the eyes. The mysterious has no name. It's not a background. It's not a field. It's not a space. It's not awareness. It's not consciousness. It's not the Dharma or whatever you understand about any of those terminologies or those doctrines. It's simply what is not of the known, not of the mind-identified paradigm, not of the mind-identified fabric of experience that's so binding, so uncomfortable. So it's good that you're uncomfortable here. It's also good that you're disoriented here. Let go. That's the key. Now, if you don't know how to let go, or you just get up into your mind about it, well, I don't know how to let go. Does letting go mean this? Some people say that, and so-and-so said this, and that's not letting go. That's holding on. That's holding on to analysis. What if you even let go of analysis here? What if you let go of the scary stories and the good stories and the analysis about what's happening? What if you let go of the need to convince yourself you know what's happening? Would that be so terrifying? Well, maybe for a moment it will. Go through the terror, see what happens. So if you really just get too up in your head about this and get into what I just described, which is analysis, then go to the sensations. You might feel something right at the pit of your stomach or somewhere in the center of the body, perhaps. Or it may be in a sort of location that you can't quite identify, but it's something that's not a thing, something that's calling you, a certain orientation that's just suddenly appearing. And again, the mind will go, oh, I don't know, is it this? I kind of think I know what he's talking about. Oh, wait, no, that can't be it, right? That's a thought. Go back to that space or that non-space. Go back to that which is opening to you. It's opening to you. It's there, or you wouldn't be watching this. So orient to it and stay there. Nose to nose with the unknown. Nose to nose with the unknown. Or nose to nose with mu, the call on mu. Or nose to nose with the question requiring no thought answer that says, what am I? Or what is this? Go nose to nose with the space that opens or the mystery that opens with that question, and don't move. Don't conclude. Don't grab a thought. Don't analyze. Don't doubt. And it may sound like I'm saying some people will say, oh, you say don't do this too much and don't do that too much. I'm undoing a tendency. I'm using that to point to the tendency that's very strong in us to grab onto the next thought. That's all I'm doing. I'm saying different ways not to do that. I'm pointing to different thought forms that arise to try to grab attention, or maybe they're not trying to do anything, but attention grabs onto them. That's all I'm doing is pointing to those and going, you don't have to grab that. You don't have to grab that hot coal. Open your hands, open your fingers, let it drop through. Let everything drop through. That's the mystery. And the mystery isn't called the mystery. It's not something, not a place. So if you're second guessing, that's not what we're talking about. I'm not talking about the second guessing. I'm not talking about the doubt. Again, those are just thoughts pointing to other thoughts. I'm talking about what is opening right now that goes completely beyond anything you know about yourself. And just let it open. Don't move. It really can be that simple.